What's going on, everybody? Welcome inside Game Day After Dark. Darren Bombing here with you on Bonfire Sports. Soon to join me is Zach Schnitzer. Heartbreak at IG Field tonight. Well over 30,000 in attendance. And with overtime, the Montreal Alouettes come away with their third victory of the season. The Blue Bombers have their season opening win streak snapped at 9 games. They sit at 9-1, still in first place in the West Division. Thanks to everybody out there for joining us here on Game Day After Dark. Looking forward to hearing from all of you in the live chat. A lot of people have been texting. There it is. The Bonfire Hotline, 816-TIPS, 816-8477. What happened tonight? Why did the Blue Bombers lose to a clearly less dangerous team than they are in the Montreal Alouettes? Well, you listen to what Mike O'Shea said after the game. You go through the way this game went, and then you look at some critical moments, especially in the fourth quarter and in overtime, and you start to see how Winnipeg lost this game by a final score of 20-17. Penalties came into play at very, very critical moments. Obviously, Mark Leggio missing 2 field goals, one to win the game at the end of the fourth quarter, another in overtime to force another mini game between the Bombers and the Alouettes. But it really started early in this game when the Montreal Alouettes were really putting pressure on Zach Collaros and the Blue Bombers offense. And frankly, it was just a lethargic start to the game. Mike O'Shea described the first quarter as low energy, said the intensity just wasn't there. The crowd intensity at IG Field was definitely there. Let's bring in our good friend Zach Schnitzer to Game Day After Dark. What's going on, Schnitz? I hope you can hear me. I hope your mic is all hooked up and you're ready to go. Just talking about this tough loss for the Blue Bombers in overtime. The crowd was raucous. The house was rocking. It was a madhouse. I love the way Bob Irving put it going into the game. Expected to be a madhouse at IG Field on Thursday night. From your perspective in the stands, we'll get into some more details later, but how did you see that game finish in particular? I was just talking about the tough start the Blue Bombers had in the first quarter.
Yeah. Everything about that night for me was awesome, except for the game at the end. I mean, as a fan, I thought, how do you call offside on that? Like, if there was a toe maybe, but then
Funny
again,
you say that because
Biggie,
that's what Mike O'Shea said. I'll just interrupt you for a second. The offside on Donald Rutledge Jr. that gave Montreal a whole new set of downs when they did stop them on third down. It depended on where the ball was spotted. Maybe a toe is what Mike O'Shea said. And then, quote, we know we can be better than that. So a mistake was made by a rookie in Donald Rutledge Jr. And I wouldn't say that cost them the game. The kicking game, the penalties, the pressure allowed on offense. There were a lot of reasons why Winnipeg.
100%. I mean, Collaros got sacked 5 times and strip sacked in the fourth quarter. And, our D couldn't hold him. I thought it was Rutledge's toe. As a fan, when I had my fan hat on, I was enraged. When I saw the replay, it did look like a toe, but I didn't want to say anything because the fans in my section would have ripped my head off. And then, I thought there was a PI on Schoen. Now people have told me they didn't see one. Just from my angle, it looked like his shoulder was turned. But again,
I watched it a few times. I can understand people in the stands would want that call. And in no way whatsoever, Zach, would I blame Mike O'Shea for challenging that because it's worth.
Well, you might as well, right? But what happens if you lose a challenge? Do you lose anything in OT? That's what we were wondering.
You'd lose your timeout, right?
So you do have a timeout in OT.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But there's no time on the clock. Why do you need a timeout?
I think it would give you an opportunity to
freeze the kicker or something. I don't know. And it's an interesting question.
I'm not totally sure. I think I know there's no game clock, right? But there is a play clock.
There's a play clock.
So that's why you would.
So
limit
I
your
guess
time.
just
But
just to
you
answer
can't
your
blame Mike
question.
O'Shea for that. You can't blame him.
No. Just to answer your question, like to wearing the fan hat, those were, those were tough to take. And I was looking, as a fan, I'm like, come on. And I guess it's because, at the end of the day, the Bombers didn't, as putrid as it looked at times, they did enough to win, Darren. And I guess the one thing that, kickers miss, and I believe Leggio had hit 15 in a row.
Yeah.
And I get the dinging one off the iron in OT. He's a young guy, right? The one that really stings for me is the one at the fourth quarter at the buzzer. It wasn't a very long kick. I believe it was in the low 30s, Darren. Maybe you can correct me.
The one he missed in the fourth?
Yeah, at the end.
Okay, this is the thing, Zach. This is the thing.
Was it tipped? Because how did it come out like that?
Okay,
it looked like a bread loaf being thrown sideways.
This is the crazy thing. We've seen Mark Leggio look really good kicking field goals, and where has he struggled? In extra points. Where are extra points kicked from? You have a line the ball up on the 25, you kick from the 32. This was a 32-yard field goal. And when I was listening and they said, Dustin Nielsen on TSN said, I was driving home from the game already, and he said 32-yard attempt. I thought to myself, you know what? If there is a ball he could struggle with, it's a 32-yarder. Like, it's just in his kitchen, right? But I am going to come to the defense of Mark Leggio, because there are going to be thousands of detractors and thousands of critics saying they need to, cut him. They need to move on. They need to find somebody else. Look, every pro football team is always looking to improve their roster. Winnipeg has scouts in the NFL camps. Guys are getting cut all the time. They're going to be working out guys all the time. They got Ali Murtada on the practice roster. That all said, Adam Bighill talked about it after the game, that, Leggio is sick about how he played tonight. And that Bighill also said the Blue Bombers expect him to make those kicks the same way they expect guys to make tackles and cover and make catches and block. So mistakes happen. He's not a perfect person, right? He's not a perfect football player. He entered the game 90% kicking. I believe he's still pretty close to that. Mike O'Shea said Mark Leggio needs to, at this juncture of his career, he's still young. He'll learn to navigate this. It will make him better. I agree with that.
Right.
And that in the end, Mike O'Shea stated something I think really important for people to keep in perspective. This team is 9-1. He did not say that.
Yep.
He did say better now in game 10 than later.
I like that comment. I think that as a Bomber fan, that is heartening. That yes, you'd rather lose early in this, like, middle of the season, learn your lessons there, because that offside is correctable. Leggio's in psychology, the only way to handle pressure better is to be exposed to pressure. And so better that it happens now. I imagine it looked like a clean snap and hold in that fourth quarter walk-off opportunity, Darren. He just duffed it. He towed it, I think, is what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
And so that's someone whose nerves got to him. I would say his execution was, wouldn't you say, if you tow it, he never does. Like, it was.
He completely misstruck the football. I watched a lot of Blue Bombers games with Troy Westwood, who kicked in the CFL for nearly 2 decades and at a very high level, and is the Blue Bombers' all-time leading scorer. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to kicking. He coaches young kickers. And how many times he would talk about, he's like, just misstruck it. It happens. Justin Medlock was as good as he was because he eliminated those misstrikes in his game. Players that are not of Hall of Fame caliber, like a Justin Medlock, you're going to misstrike a ball once in a while. Leggio completely misstruck that ball. There was no chance of it ever going through. But, as Arrow Strain says here, who's watching live on YouTube, he should have crushed it, in case of a miss, this and
Right.
that, rest. The reality is, when you misstrike the ball, you can kick it as hard as you want. It's not going to go where you expect it to.
Well, and that's the crushing thing as a fan, Darren, is that when it's a walk-off and it's a tie game, yes, we'll get to that. When it's a walk-off and it's a tie game, you don't have to make the field goal. You just have to hit it cleanly. And that's the first time he's hit. Like, he's missed before PATs and field goals, but he's never duffed it. And for him to duff it at that time, I think if he would have missed it, but he goes through the end zone and we win 18-17, we're all pretty happy. We're like, hey, this team is on crutches. They're exhausted. They haven't had a bye week. They have a bunch of regulars out. Hey, they won. That's all that matters. And at the end of the day in football, that's all that matters. So when you lose, regardless of how, it hurts. So I'm with you. I think what I want to see is, how does Leggio respond? Because this is mental. And it's how does he respond? This was a 10th game in the season. They're 9-1. They were exhausted. I mean, the O-line got pushed around, Darren, like I've never seen.
That's what I want to get to.
Bryant and Hardrick.
Let's talk about the bigger reasons why Winnipeg lost this game. This was not a 37-34 game. It was 7-7 at the half, and it was 17-17 with the game on the line with seconds left on the clock. Montreal won in overtime because of a variety of reasons, not because Mark Leggio missed in the fourth quarter. Let's talk about the lethargic start, the low energy, the failure in executing good, solid football, like the Blue Bombers so often have done this season. Great starts, putting teams down and not letting them get back up off the mat. That did not happen. You're right. Stanley Bryant, Jamarcus Hardrick, Chris Kolinkowski, Pat Neufeld, and Jeff Gray all had moments where the Montreal defensive front pushed them around. Zach Collaros got beat up and hit to the ground and tossed around and pressured all day long. You talked about the 5 sacks. It should be 6, because in the second quarter, he kind of maybe it was the first quarter, he kind of threw the ball away. Underhand.
Kind of fumbled it. Yeah.
And they said, okay, that's a forward pass incomplete, but it goes beyond those 6 times. He
pressured,
was
right?
Pressure. And then what happened? That Dalton Schoen 27-yard touchdown, that's when things started to turn in Buck Pierce's favor and the Blue Bombers offense's favor. They found a way to protect better, and they started to move the football. Get this, Zach. Get this. In the first half, the Blue Bombers went 2-and-out in their first possession. They had 6 plays and 40 yards on their second possession. Then a 2-and-out, then another 2-and-out. So that's 3 out of their first 4 possessions, nothing they could get going. Then a 5-play, 48-yard touchdown drive. That was the 27-yard strike to Schoen. And then 3 plays and a punt. That was the first half. They could not get continuity on offense. Brady Oliveira had a good average rushing tonight. I think he finished... 5.6 yards per carry at 15 carries for 84 yards, over 100 combined. Again, Brady has played extremely well this last month, but the team around him did not. Drew Wolotarski, Janarian Grant, I think made some big plays in this game, but the offense as a whole did not play well. And I think that's a huge reason why they lost.
Well, and they never seemed, Darren, to be able, like, they had the key drives when they needed them to win the game. They couldn't finish, but you're right. When you look at the meat of the game, not just the toppings, which is Leggio's kicking, mind you, he's part of the team. When you look at the meat of the game, they couldn't protect Zach. And someone said to me, "Whoa, look at that throw to Schoen. That was beautiful." And I'm like, if that's what it takes to get points on this Montreal defense, you can't sustain that for 60 minutes. Like, you can't expect Zach to be a Houdini. Right. And yes, this typical Bombers offense was making big second down catches with Ellingson over the middle and Wolotarski and Dembski, but they were picking them up off the carpet a couple times. Like they were close, Darren, and I thought Zach had percentage-wise had a good game. If you just looked at that, you'd say, hey, well, Josh Wolf is saying 77%. But they were under pressure too much. And the second half, I was looking to see, could they adjust to the pressure that Montreal was bringing? And I saw them try a couple of different things. The one thing I wanted to see was a sweep. There was 3 plays where they faked the sweep, and they had Oliveira run up the gut for 2 or 3 yards. And yes, overall, Oliveira had a good game. But I was curious why they didn't try a sweep when you're trying to get away from pressure up the middle when your O-line is struggling. Like maybe a couple more screens. I don't know. I don't know if they adjusted well enough to the pressure, or maybe they tried and that O-line was just too exhausted. I don't know. And also welcome Tim Capper from Montreal. Shout out to you and congratulations on the win. The Montreal Alouettes, I hate to say it, were full value, right? Like I would say they deserved to win. They won in 2 out of the 3 phases, right, Darren? Like special teams and defense. I think our offense maybe outperformed theirs, as putrid as maybe it looked at sometimes. But yeah, I just didn't see the offense clicking and getting any sort of traction.
No, they didn't. Just to answer Brett Olson's question here about Michael Couture's status, the Blue Bombers starting center week 1, an all-star CFLPA last year. No, he is not practicing yet, still recovering from that broken arm. Collectively, the offensive line struggled. The defense, I thought, played pretty well. I think the special teams played well. I don't want to hang it on any one phase. When you lose a football game in overtime, everybody could have been better. Winston Rose had a tough play on Keon Julian Grant, going 40 plus yards on him. But then Winston Rose made a great play late in the game.
He made a great play late in the game too.
Phenomenal. So, that kind of balances out. There were some big hits. Mike Miller absolutely crushing Tyson Philpott. Like, Zach, there's a reason I call him the killer. Mike Miller.
I tweeted it, deadly. Killer Mike Miller. Like, that was an absolutely, he assassinated him.
He really did. Mike Miller talked about it post-game on CGOB, and he said, straight up, he said, I saw him coming in that hole and he was bringing it, so I knew I had to bring it too. Humble, Mike Miller is, but no surprise why he's one of Mike O'Shea's favorites. The Blue Bombers were favored by 12 and then 11 and then as low as 9 going into this game. They lose by 3 in overtime. It's unfortunate to me, Zach. 31,053 in attendance at IG Field tonight. It was rocking. The wave came out. Hustler tweeted after the game, I blame the wave.
I knew he'd say that. He hates the wave. And sorry, I got to interrupt. As a fan, when the wave is coming, and I get it. It was 17-10. It's the 4th quarter. It's the dark side defense. We were marching. I'm sorry. First, there's 2 reasons you don't do the wave at that point. One, it's the CFL and the game is still going on. It is not over. Okay, even if we get a field goal on that play or a touchdown, the game's not over. Probably
no lead is safe, right?
No lead is safe. Second of all, the wave is making noise when your offense is on the field. Mm-hmm. And there were guys on offense on the field going like this. I don't know if you can see my hand, but or guys on the sideline going like this, like, shut up. I hate to say it because fans are excited. And as you said, Darren, it was a great night at the park, right? People were pumped. People were loud. It was beautiful weather. I mean, the tailgate I got to was super fun. There was so much that was fun, but educated fans shouldn't be doing the wave at that point. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to throw shade on fans, but you can't do the wave at that point. And then you hear the vacuum seal of the stadium when he fumbles it, right? Like, when Zach fumbled in the fourth quarter, you could hear
The
the
strip
air
sack,
get
yeah.
sucked out of the stadium.
Of course.
Like, I know Rob Mahoney's calling me a party pooper, like a tongue in cheek, but I hated the wave there, Darren. Like, you can't do the wave there. Like, you only do the wave if 100% the game's over. Like, you cannot do the wave.
I'm not, but let's be real.
No
The
wave.
wave didn't cause the Blue Bombers to lose. You can talk about it all day. Like, yeah, they, fans shouldn't have been making noise
but
when the Bombers offense is on the field or this or that. But come on. The Blue Bombers lost because they stunk in the first quarter. The Blue Bombers lost because they couldn't protect Zach Collaros. The Blue Bombers lost because they left points on the board in makeable kicking situations. The Blue Bombers lost because they took penalties to give the Montreal Alouettes a fresh set of downs with goal to go. I want to address Aerostrain. First time I've seen Aerostrain in the live chat. Thanks for watching.
Okay, Aerostrain, welcome.
And he's had some good. He or she has had some very good comments already. Shouldn't have went to OT, says Aerostrain. O'Shea should have told Leggio to punt it through the end zone for a single to end the game. 32-yard field goal would be like you'd have to punt the ball 55, 57 yards just to get it to the back of the end zone. So there's no guarantee you're going to be able to crush it like that when punters net average is 47, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I wonder though, because this is an interesting point. I wonder if that was in the back of Mark Leggio's mind saying, okay, no matter how I kick this, I got to kick it hard because if I can get it deep, then at least we have a chance to make a tackle in the end zone and still win the game. And then he completely misstruck the ball. Noticing a lot of people have tuned in since we started and we talked about it, Zach. There was no tip on Mark Leggio's fourth quarter kick to win the game. It was a clean kick, except in every sense, except Mark Leggio striking the football. Completely mishit it, and that game went to overtime. Funny how it was 32 yards, the same as a convert distance kick. I wonder if that kind of factored into things too.
I think that's a good point, Darren. I just want to reinforce that because that makes a lot of sense logically that maybe he knew if I just hammer this, everything's fine. And maybe he, overdid it, right? Like sometimes when we're holding onto the stick too tight or if you're a golfer and you try and just smoke a ball, like you miss it, like, can I just say Sean Blagden, and welcome, Sean. I've never seen you before, but welcome to Bonfire After Dark. You were asking if O'Shea should have challenged the offside on the third down stop. And in the postgame, he said, I actually didn't know this either, but he could not challenge that. That is not challengeable. So
the what? Sorry,
the third down that they stopped Davis.
Right.
And then they got the offside. You cannot challenge offside, unfortunately. And I think he would have lost the challenge because as a lot of people pointed out, as much as fans hate to say it, there was a toe. There was Rutledge's toe. Maybe we'll call this the Rutledge toe game. Or the Leggio toe, the toe game. Like it'll be the toe game. I don't know.
It'll be the undefeated streak ender, right? It'll be the 9-0 heartbreak in overtime to the Alouettes. What is it about the Montreal Alouettes and the Blue Bombers playing wild finish games at IG Field? Remember Matt Nichols running 40 yards upfield, and then Andrew Harris his knee not touching the turf, maybe. On that touchdown run to complete a huge comeback against Kavis Reed's built Montreal Alouettes of years gone by.
Tom Higgins, I think, was the coach. No, it wasn't Tom Higgins. It was what's his name? The old OC of BC. I can't even remember his name.
Yeah.
Jacques something.
Oh, Jacques Chapdelaine.
Chapdelaine, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, and that it's something about these two teams. I think I get the Hamilton Tiger Cats have faced the Bombers in each of the last two Grey Cups. They've played each other in countless Grey Cups through the decades. But I firmly believe the Montreal Alouettes are the natural rival of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the East. Just crazy games.
So, yeah.
I really do.
For sure, for sure. And then there was that 2007 East semifinal. You remember that at home where we had them stopped on the goal line stand and Westy kicked the game winner? It was a crazy game. It was a cold one. And then we went into Toronto and beat Michael Bishop, but that's the Kevin Glenn arm break game. So, but that was a classic. People don't talk about that much because of the Kevin Glenn arm break and the Riders winning the cup. But you know, I hear it like it's embarrassing to lose to the Als. I see Josh Wolf, and I get what you're saying there. Like they are the second worst team in the East, but Cote missed a chip shot field goal. They should have won that game. You know, they're not a terrible team. They're not a great team, but their defense outplayed our O-line big time. And we were supposed to have, we zoomed in there, Darren.
No, sorry about
that. It's a back-to-back. I think
it's hard to beat it. It's hard to beat a team twice in a row.
But someone who knows about O-lines, and I won't say who it is, I saw him at the tailgate, said he and another guy who knows about O-lines was wondering whether maybe our O-line, some of the vets are just getting old. And my first reaction to that, Darren, was like, come on. You're talking about Stanley Bryant, Jamarcus Hardrick, Patrick Neufeld.
These are human beings. They don't all play the best football all the time.
You don't give them a rest, right? You play on short weeks a bunch of times on the road.
You can't rest too many offensive linemen. They got two guys on the practice roster?
No. So, but the question for me is, you know, after the bye week, Darren, how is the O-line going to look? Because they got Oliveira started, and people I've talked to said that's more because Oliveira is making one cut and hitting the hole. It's not so much the O-line. That's what I heard. Maybe it's a bit of both, but are there going to, like, I saw Tim Capper put this out there, which is a good question. Are teams now going to base their defensive line and front seven pressure on what Montreal did tonight? And that's something that, as a Bomber fan, I'm thinking about. I'm hoping that they didn't figure out the book on the Bombers and stopping that offense. And by the way, Neil, great to talk to you, buddy. It's been a long time coming. Great to meet you. That was a highlight of the night for me. Great guy, Neil, one of our long time listeners.
Wait a second. Meeting Neil, like I see Neil at Jets games all the time. Awesome guy. Highlight for sure. But wasn't your highlight of the night being named season ticket member of the game?
Well, you know, my wife kind of like, so I texted her a picture of this. I got $1,000, right? But it's not $1,000. Like I'm not complaining.
Wait a second. What you won something too?
Oh yeah. No, it's I don't know if you can see this. It's $1,000 to a total flooring, which $1,000 is $1,000. It's great. Like we've got a carpet down here with 3 cats and toddlers that will need to be replaced. So it'll be very well earned. But my wife texts back. You've been there. You probably still have to wash your clothes with a cat does. But I wasn't called to the principal's office. It was a fun time. But first of all, people thought I had horseshoes up my butt because I won that $500 to the Bombers store.
You have been super lucky
and said, you must have horseshoes up your butt. And I said, if they do, they're small ones because I don't feel any different. Like I'm sitting comfortably. But yes, it's $1,000 from Total Flooring, of flooring materials from Total Flooring.
Wait a second. Is this company a sponsor of ours? I don't know why you keep saying their name so much.
Yeah, well, maybe they should be. Well, I don't know what
give us a call.
Flooring materials. So that could be carpet, it could be hardwood. But then my wife says, if only you'd won that 50 times, we could switch out all our hardwood finally in our house. You know, sometimes our significant others have a way of knocking the wind out of our sails. But yeah, I mean, that was cool. And also, apparently I was on Global today, Darren, representing Bonfire.
You made the cut.
I was at the Bomber store earlier today. I rode my bike there. And I spent my almost all my $500 on a couple of jerseys for my.
What'd you get me?
Well, I didn't get you a jersey. I'm just telling you
Good.
that. I
Good.
got someone. I got
This
two
is as
very
close as
special people a
see this?
jersey
A little royal blue
to get
Nike
you a nice
golf shirt. That's as
Bombers
close
golf
as I'll get
shirt,
to
Darren.
Bombers gear. That's as
I should
close as I'll get.
no. I'm gonna get you wearing Bombers gear. So I got them a couple of jersey hemorrhoids, not horseshoes. Andrea, she's good. Anyway, a long story short, which should have been a lot shorter, is I got two very special ladies jerseys, and Global was there, and they were interviewing fans, and I kind of obnoxiously said, "Hey, can I get an interview?" And they were like taken aback, and they're like, "I guess." And who knows? I didn't know if it would make the cutting floor or not, but I put a plug in for Bonfire, and I said, and maybe this was bad. Maybe I jinxed the team. I said, what's more important than winning than losing for me as a fan is how this team plays the game and how they, support each other and how that inspires us as people. And,
Yeah.
maybe I should have said,
That's a
like,
money clip. That's a money clip. I've worked in newsrooms. That's a money clip.
but I should have, maybe as a fan, you get superstitious. Maybe it's that, the butterfly effect, and there was some kind of current in the wind that hit the players, and they're like, "Oh, it doesn't matter if we win. It just matters that we love each other." So I'm just getting crazy here, but anyway, yes, apparently on Global, my mother-in-law taped it. I don't know if you can find it, but
Like taped it on a VCR, like a cassette.
no, like on PVR.
You said taped it, like an actual tape.
Oh, well, that in the old days, right? We tape and then we
Watch
tape
the tape.
over things.
Watch the tape. Yeah.
Anyway, people
right?
didn't come on here to hear about this. Yes, hit the like button, hit subscribe.
Yeah, we
But you know
appreciate
what?
that a lot. Yeah,
At
sub
the end
up.
of the
Like half of you out there are not subscribed. Half of you watching
Yeah,
right
come
now
on.
are not subscribed to Bonfire Sports. Get down below
Sacrifice, Zach.
on youtube.com/Bonfire Sports. Hit subscribe. Ring the bell. After you hit subscribe, the bell pops up. You can ring the bell, and then you'll get alerted whenever we go live. That's Tuesdays at 7:30 for Bonfire Midweek. Zach, you and I are doing a show. I'm making you stay working during the bye week. We're going to do a show on Tuesday night. And then, of course, you'll be alerted when Chris Walby and I do GameDay Winnipeg pregame, 3 p.m. Central, the day before the game, every game. And then, of course, Bonfire After Dark, or Game Day After Dark here on Bonfire, getting a little steamy as we always do in the twilight.
Well, I know,
hours.
but we're staying hydrated. I've got my beautiful the Sports Vault mug here. It's keeping my water cold.
Whoa, hey,
Oh yeah.
gonna announce a winner tomorrow.
Yeah, Pumper.
you
You
still
better announce when our Pumper's gonna come to your house
no,
and like
look,
smash
lots
you.
of people have been texting in to win these. Here's the deal. You still have a chance to win. Watch Bonfire Midweek from this past week. You'll learn the special code word. You're going to text 816-TIPS, 204-816-8477 with the code word and your name, and you'll be eligible to win. This is the first of many, many prizes from the Sports Vault. Check them out at thesportsvault.com. See if we can get a progress shot here.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Where's my auto? There. All right. Well, Zach, there were a lot of moments in this game that stood out to me. But I think going into this bye week, like two things come to mind. Number one, it's always tough going into a bye week after a loss because it's a bad memory that is fresh in your mind. Mike O'Shea talked about it after the game. He hopes the guys relax, take a break, clear their minds, rest their bodies, and that they don't carry this loss into the bye. Snap and clear is the way Zach Collaros puts it. Flush it away is how it's often been said. They need to look at the film and then get over it and realize that they're still first place in the CFL at 9-1. Thoughts of this team going undefeated this season? I think it's almost a blessing. I won't even say in disguise. I think it's a blessing in its regular street clothes that this team lost a game against an East Division team. If they had lost to Calgary or lost to BC or lost to Saskatchewan, not just the West Division standings, but I think it's the psychology of losing to a team you need to beat. Is Montreal going to be in the Grey Cup? Maybe. They're in the East.
Could be.
But less likely than, say, a crossover team or Toronto or Hamilton, at least in my opinion. But that all said, that's what they need to do. They need to move on from that. Secondly, Mark Leggio is going to be having, I hope he doesn't, just for his personal health, but he's going to be having nightmares for a long, long time.
Oh, sure.
Because he didn't just miss one kick that could have won the game. He missed a second makeable kick in overtime that would have kept OT going. That is tough. That is really, really tough. 31,000 people were in attendance tonight, 31,053, great crowd for a non-Banjo Bowl or playoff game. So kudos to everybody that went out to the game tonight and supported this outstanding football club. And it's going to be tough for Mark Leggio, especially as a young player, to do that. I sure hope he gets, the sports psychology help that this team has. They have Dr. Adrian Toogood and a couple of her associates that work with the team. I'm sure a phone call or a conversation to settle him down will help. That's the human side of it. The football side of it is a business. The Blue Bombers are going to be working out kickers. The Blue Bombers are always trying to get better. They're looking at offensive linemen. They're looking at defensive linemen, linebackers, DBs, especially looking at DBs. You're always looking to add another Dietrich Nichols, another DeAndre Alford, another Nick Taylor. I know Nick Taylor was with Edmonton prior to coming to Winnipeg, but you want to find more of those guys. You want to find receivers. You want to find quarterbacks. And this time of year,
during the bye week, right?
Yeah, it's the bye week. It's a good opportunity to have those conversations. And NFL is in training camp right now. They're playing preseason games. They're making rounds of cuts. Guys might just say, okay, I've tried the NFL for a couple of years. I'm going to, take a swing at the Canadian Football League.
Can you pull up a comment here that is just brilliant? Mark Amfavanasuk. I hope I'm saying that right. He's saying, Scott Norwood probably knows a good psychologist, and I hope he does.
Did they have sports psychologists in the 90s? Did they have them?
Maybe he had one later. I think he went on to a career in real estate and moved away from Buffalo. But as some of you may remember, 1990 Super Bowl, Buffalo lost on a Scott Norwood miss from 47. Mind you, that just to show you how much of a football nerd I am, if you ever watch ESPN's Four Falls of Buffalo, it's a great documentary on the Buffalo Bills. Apparently, the wind changed in the game, and earlier the wind had been going a different way. So, it just goes to show you that football could be a game of inches. And Darren, I like your point that the Bombers didn't lose it just on Leggio. Like, it shouldn't necessarily come down to that. It often does in football, but Winnipeg's the better team. We all know that. Winnipeg is the better team, and they didn't come to play today as much as they needed to. And
I love this comment. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. One Bird WB watching live on YouTube.
Welcome, hey, One Bird.
Welcome to the program. Face it, the Bombers ran out of luck, and they were lucky to be 9-0. Missed a convert, Beatty, and then 3 opposition special teams penalties to keep drives alive.
Yep.
Like, they were fortunate to beat Ottawa 1917 in Winnipeg. They were fortunate to beat Toronto 23-22 in TO. There were times of fortune in Edmonton. I know they won by 14 points, 24-10, but Zach Collaros was 43% in that game with 7 completions. They left a lot on the table in that game. They were fortunate, in a lot of games this year. It's not like they were blowing the socks off of everybody. Yeah. They found fortune. How many times on this show, Zach, or on Bonfire Midweek, we've said Good teams are lucky. You got to be lucky to be good and good to be lucky, right? How many times have we said that? Very true in this team's case.
I would agree with you, although in the Toronto game, I was thinking about the Beatty miss, right? But at the same time, I'm
I would
not
have
sure
tied
that
it,
was.
right?
Yeah, but I'm not sure that Brandon Branks had a touchdown there on Demario Houston. I remember that was controversial, but sure. I mean, you had the pyramiding penalty last week, right? Like, it's football. This is why we love football, Darren. And football giveth and football taketh away. I mean, it is the most thrilling game, I think, in the universe, because the last play of the game can be this bizarre duffed kick where you're like, you just basically rip victory from a sure, or you rip victory, from a sure win. And it's a defeat, or it's going into overtime, and you're just sick as a fan. You're just like, did that just happen? So, I mean, those things happen, and then you have the thrill of victory. And this was a real up and down one for the psychology of a fan. And I get fans are really angry. Think about 2019, though. There was 2 games where we were up big on Montreal and Toronto respectively, and we gave those games away at the end. And what that catalyzed was this dark side defense. That's why they brought in Nick Taylor, and Brandon Alexander went to safety, and Mercy Maston. And Mike Jones, who's now on Montreal. So, I think it's how teams respond to this tragic adversity, right? It's how they respond. And that 2019 team went on to be one of the historic runs to the Grey Cup we've ever seen.
Yeah.
A lot of it based on their defense. So, I think tomorrow when we wake up as fans, remember that.
What's the most overused cliche in football? Cliches are cliches because they are true. And the most commonly used one in football is any given Sunday, any given Thursday or Friday night, any given Saturday afternoon, any given Sunday, a team can beat another team. Going 9-0 to start a season, there's a reason the Blue Bombers hadn't done that in 62 years. There's a reason why only 6 teams ever in the Canadian Football League have started 10-0. There's a reason why it's a very, very rare accomplishment, because good teams lose football games. Look at the 2007 New England Patriots, right? 17-0 through the playoffs and losing the Super Bowl to Eli Manning and the New York Giants. It happens. Yep. The reality is, let's calm down. Like, look, 31,000 people going nuts at IG Field on a beautiful summer night. A win would have made it perfect. I get that. But, if you, tough. Like Zach, you went to the game. Did you have fun?
Oh, I had a blast, man.
It would have been more fun
until the end. Until the last maybe 10 minutes, I was just like, ugh.
Let's keep it in perspective, right? This team is 9-1. They have got 2 games against the BC Lions at the end of the year that could determine this division. Did you expect them to be undefeated going into 2 games against the BC Lions in week 19 and week 21? They've got 3 more games against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. You think they were just going to sweep the Riders? I get that they've beat Calgary twice. They got to play Calgary again following this bye on August 25th. There are a lot of tough games ahead for Winnipeg. 6 at home, 3 on the road, 3 byes. That is a positive. But, there was a reason why it was like 26-1 that Winnipeg would go 18-0 on the season. Keep it in perspective. This is still a very, very good football team. You can learn from a loss in July or in August and know that it would be a lot harder pill to swallow if it was in October or November.
I agree. I hear what you're saying intellectually. I still feel like someone punched me in the gut. I got to be honest with you, but I'm a fan, right? I'm a fan. It was tough to see because it would have been a picture perfect ending on a game where the team didn't play great, but we're getting it done on second down, and Leggio kicks the winner. Even if he kicks a single, like, Nobody in Winnipeg cares if he misses that and kicks a single and he wins, because it's all
I
about.
wouldn't say
I
nobody.
don't know, man, because I think everyone's thinking they're tired, they're on a stretcher, they're on life support, they haven't had a bye, everybody's exhausted, whatever. But like, man, to lose that way, like if they had just lost and it's like, Montreal run up the score, even this was just as a fan, this is the worst way to lose. I mean, ugh, yucky, yucky, yucky. But hey, listen, Dom Dale, yeah, Winnipeg Gordo saying,
Did he jump into the stand?
yeah, he was a bit of a hot dog after, but you know what?
Wow.
If that's the crowning achievement of Dom Davis's career, is getting a touchdown off an offside when he had lost 3 chances. By the way, Biggie was an absolute missile tonight for a guy that's older and plays linebacker, a very, very physical spot, Darren. I mean, he was asked at the post game, were you guys a little tired or were you tired, Adam? He's like, nope, I was fine. And that play he made on Dom Davis, the way he jumps over the line, he also had a pass knockdown deep in the secondary. Like, you tell me a linebacker who's built Biggie, who's built like basically a Mack truck that can run back down and knock a pass down. He also, I think, absolutely destroyed Antwi on one play. Like, Biggie, I love Biggie's play. That brings a smile to my face.
Really good comment here from, pardon me. This question from One Bird. Why not punt it through? We addressed this a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
If you're on so it was a 32-yard field goal attempt. So you'd be punting it from like the 35. Let's just say the 30. Then you got to add another 20 yards to get it through the end zone. That's a 50-yard punt. We're probably talking 55. We're probably talking from the 35 through the end zone. That's 55 yards. It's not a breeze to punt it 55 yards. It's not a breeze to place kick it 50 yards. It's not that simple. It's like, oh yeah, just kick it through for the single and you win. I don't know if the wind I don't think the wind was a factor tonight, but it's not that cut and dry of just booting it through. I'm kind of with waiters. Embarrassing to win on a Rouge. Yeah, you take a win any way you can take it, right?
I'd take it.
But loving the live chat tonight, and tons of people joining us here on Game Day After Dark. Be sure to join us Tuesday, 7:30. Zach, you and I are going to do our mid-season awards. We're going to give away some more stuff from the Sports Vault. Check them out, thesportsvault.com. I'm just going through the comments here. Oh yes, comment. This was a great comment. The battle in the trenches was won by Montreal tonight. Armando Sewell, 2 weeks in a row, pushed Blue Bombers center Chris Kolinkowski around. Was it the sole reason why Winnipeg struggled in pass protection? No. Pat Neufeld, Jeff Gray, even Stanley Bryant and Jamarcus Hardrick all had their plays where Montreal was able to put the pressure on. Huge play from Avery Ellis, who was not in the lineup for Montreal last week.
Good point. Yeah.
He had a huge strip sack of Zach Collaros at a critical point in the game that allowed Montreal to tie it. When they took the ball over. Winnipeg's offense really, really struggled, especially in the first half. This team, this Blue Bombers team put up, what was it? 35 points against Calgary. They put up 43 points in Vancouver. They need to do better than scoring 7 points at the half and 17 points in the game. They need to be, somebody was saying it in the live chat earlier, they need to do better than 2 touchdowns in a game. They really, really do. Greg Ellingson was back in the lineup. Everybody's seemingly healthy. But the reality is,
although Ellingson was being switched in and out.
Okay.
But here's behind me said that he was getting my buddy Steve, who sits behind me. I think
he's back, and everybody's for the most part in the lineup that's healthy and ready to go. But It sure looked like week 10. It sure looked like 10 straight games through training camp. You include the preseason, 12 straight games with no buys. It really, really looked that way. No energy, no punch, no juice, however you want to put it, especially in the first quarter. They made mistakes. They couldn't get any consistency going. And coming into this game, like I thought Winnipeg was going to cover the 9-point spread. SIA.com/bonfire if you want to sign in there and get a bonus. But I believed they would cover because I expected them to punch early and often.
Yeah.
And maybe I was foolhardy in thinking a team that was in week 10 in a row could do that against against an opponent they faced 7 days ago.
I thought they'd crush them. I actually didn't take them even when it went to -9. I took them on the money line and I bet the house. I was very dejected that I lost everything, but
no, hang on.
What,
do you know? On Sports Interaction, SIA.com/bonfire, if your money line on CFL games loses by exactly 3, you get your money back.
More horseshoes, ladies and gentlemen.
You've got your money back.
I love SIA. I got that email as I got into the car and I opened up my email. I'm like, oh crap, that was like the worst night ever. And then I saw that. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. So I got all my money. So credit, SIA.com/bonfire. It pays. Really, go check it out.
How about this? I hit on some prop bets on
Yes, you were telling me about
SIA.com/bonfire.
those.
I had Brady Oliveira over 64.5 yards. He had 84 rushing tonight.
84, yeah.
I had Trevor Harris over 25.5 pass attempts. He had 27 tonight. He had 26 last week. And I thought, okay, Winnipeg's going to get up early. They're going to, rise to the occasion and be fueled by all that energy of 30,000 plus at IG Field. And they're going to be passing the ball all day long. Well, that wasn't really the case. But Jeshurun Antwi, 10 touches last week. He had 9 tonight. Dom Davis, short yardage. Okay, fine. 7 times he did that. And then Feaster, who was eating early, pardon the pun, 6 carries for 39 yards. They just don't run the football in Montreal. So I hit on a few of those props, but I definitely lost on Winnipeg covering 9. I jumped in on that line when it dropped all the way to 9 after opening at 12. But
yeah,
hey, that's the way it goes.
It happens. I hope you came out ahead, but could I give a shout out? So this was the first time I'd ever tailgated, Darren.
Yeah,
so
okay. How was that?
I got there early, and boy, was it fun. Like I could see why people tailgate, and you could park in the Max Bell Center for $20. I hooked up with Dirty Bird, Trevor Finch, and his bunch. And there was Scott there, who I'd met at the Grey Cup, and Derek. And holy, did they make, like they alternate who makes the food, Darren?
Okay.
Let me tell you the menu, because this wasn't just like, okay food out of the back of a truck. They had a smoker going. They had burnt ends in a little container that they gave me from a brisket. So it was a smoked brisket, smoked mac and cheese with bits of ham, coleslaw, like smoked mac and cheese. It was unbelievable. And then Dirty Bird made this might have been the highlight of the night. Dirty Bird made a cornbread with jalapeno and cheese, and boy, was it tasty. And then I got to see my good buddy Shane Monpetit. He told me how to pronounce his name. Him and his partner Didi, they're from Dauphin. They drive 3.5 hours, so I got to meet them. I got to see El Tony Tones and some other folks. So that was just super fun. And also salute to the service members. Let's not forget that. That was one of the important parts of the game. 400 of them.
Did you catch the flyby?
No, I did not, because I was coming late from the tailgate.
It apparently went over during the anthem. I did not see it or hear it. But apparently it went over. So like it was one of those big military cargos, right? Like a huge plane, probably cruising low altitude, nice and slow. I remember the jets, like the 2 or 3 jets that would rip over the stadium in, flyovers of years gone by. And it would absolutely rock the building.
Yeah.
Like just the roof, especially, would like hold all that sound in. And it was just crazy. I missed it completely tonight. Missed it completely.
I didn't see it because I was talking to, and I got a picture I'll post later. I was talking to our good friend David Asplin, who's a friend of the show, a guy who I wagered a beard cutting on, which I kind of I, I missed the small print, so I have to. You can see I'm growing my beard back slowly because I lost that bet with David Asplin, but him and I shook on it. Yeah, it's going slowly. Anyway, David has a nice bushy orange beard, and I said if we get to 13-0, you have to shave your beard. So again, I've lost already. Yeah, it was bad. But shout out to David. We had a nice chat.
Well, speaking of shout outs, want to shout out this young man here, Tony Burnett, former Winnipeg Blue Bomber, weak side linebacker, special teams demon. What's going on, Cuts? Good to see you, man. Listening out in Southern California. And he was texting me after the game. He's like, what did you text me, Tony? You texted me. I got to check this out. He texted me, like that's a tough way to end the streak, right? No doubt about that. Lots of people texting on the Bonfire hotline tonight. This texter did not leave a name. Why didn't we kick for a single instead of a field goal? Everybody is stymied by that. Some people in the live chat also mentioning, they could have kicked it through the side of the end zone. Do you realize the Canadian Football League field is 63.5 yards wide? Often people say 65 yards. It's 63.5 yards wide. You want to kick it 30 yards, 40 yards downfield and 35 to the side? Like, you're rolling the dice with serious danger there.
And there's a reason, Darren, that you never see that. Like, I've never seen anyone try and punt for a Rouge for a win. You always see a field goal. Like, I've never seen it in the history of watching football. I get when it doesn't work. People are wondering, like my father-in-law was wondering, why didn't they punt it? But, you're 8 yards further back. It's a 20-yard end zone. Like you said, the net on a punt, and that's pressure too on Leggio. He's not necessarily going to sky the punt either. And you can always kick it out too, right? Like we've seen that in the CFL. Yeah, I like what Mitch Swish just say. You play to win. Like you kick the field goal, but
yeah, like more people talking about the wave. Up 7 points with 9 minutes left.
Yeah.
Not 3, 9.
Yeah, it was bad.
If your offense has it and there's 3 minutes left, maybe. If it's a 1-score game, maybe. Should be a 2-score game. But I digress. Cheers.
Well, you told me it wasn't responsible for the loss, and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I have a tinfoil hat, but if you have noise and you're an offense, we talk about noise affecting on offense. I can't say that it didn't affect the offense that was already.
What about a silent wave?
Sure, do a silent wave. I don't give two whatevers. Do a silent wave, but yeah.
Oh, see, Richie gave Zach a fist bump at the top of 129, section 129 at the start of the game, was downhill from there. So, everybody has their superstition as to why the Blue Bombers.
Well, that was Fritchie. Okay.
For the first loss of the season. Zach, you going to start tailgating at 10 a.m. before the Banjo Bowl?
Well, if I could bring my daughter, yeah, because she's coming to the game. I don't know if she could last that long, although if she kept getting great food like that and meeting, Bomber Woman, like we met Bomber Woman and Jersey Girl, she might make it.
Bring back the Green Drop.
I would like to beat up Green Drop right now just to get it out of just to get the anger out. Just to get I'm so mad we lost the game. I gotta be honest. I'm sick.
Adam Draward asking about Brandon Alexander, the Blue Bombers all-star safety. Any updates on BA? No updates. He is not practicing. If he's not practicing yet, don't expect him, to be a possibility when the Blue Bombers return following this bye at home against the Calgary Stampeders on, that's another Thursday game in this summer here in Southern Manitoba, August 25th at 7:30. I could see BA on the sidelines tonight. I got a good look at him, through my creepy reporter binoculars, and he looks to be in phenomenal shape. Like he really, really does. He's wearing like a compression shirt.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah,
he looks fit. Like when you're injured, like you're coming back from knee injury, I imagine he does a lot of like, okay, well, I can't run, so I'm gonna go on the rowing machine and I'm going to do some bench and I'm going to do some curls and I'm going to do some pulls on the back and like,
wow,
he's looking, to do what you can. Like you're looking to get better how you can when you can't, test that knee. So lots of people asking about him and others.
Well, because
I wouldn't hold your breath on anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad because I saw Nick Hallett like on that fourth quarter drive where the Alouettes tied it. He missed on one. It looked like, and just
waiter's nose.
He hit the receiver, but it looks like his eye. Maybe he was in the wrong spot, but hard to tell. There was a guy here who said something about Noel Prefontaine kicking in a certain way. Did you see that? Bomber, I don't know if it was Bomber fan or maybe see if we can find. I'll see if I can find it. It was an interesting comment about the old Toronto and Edmonton kicker Noel Prefontaine. Bomber fan. He's saying it's not unprecedented. Prefontaine used field goal formation early in career to pin kicks like punts. Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I didn't hear of that. What do you make of that?
Let me pull that one up. Who had that comment?
Bomber fan. 414.
How come I don't see it here?
I have to go down a bit. I think I follow him on Twitter, and he always has some interesting takes. So anyway, I thought that was
lay that out again.
Prefontaine used field goal formation early in career to pin kicks like punts.
I don't really understand.
Sure what he means, but maybe he can clarify. That was an interesting point. If there's a history of people going for, different kinds of kicks that I've never seen. But anyway, let's see if he explains. But let's go on. Let's move on from that. Well, and Jesse Briggs almost blocks a punt. Oh, if he gets close. that was centimeters, man. If he gets that, we win the game.
Love this. Tony Burnett, who plays the same position as Jesse Briggs, lives vicariously through the legend that is Jesse Briggs. Tony, you were teammates on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers with Jesse Briggs.
Oh, nice.
He is quite a player, isn't he? Jesse Briggs, I think, is one of those Canadian reserve linebackers, special team coach on the field type guys, like a Mike Miller, like a Shane Gauthier. Maybe don't get enough love or appreciation or mention. But hey, that's what we're going to do here on Bonfire Sports. We're going to draw attention to those that maybe don't get it elsewhere. Jesse Briggs is one of the best players in the CFL today. You're just not going to see it on a stat sheet. You're just not going to see it on the highlight reels. He can ball. He makes plays, and one of the smartest players on the field as well. It's amazing when you talk to people connected in the CFL and inside the Blue Bombers organization as well, how much they talk about the value of a Shane Gauthier, of a Jesse Briggs, of a Mike Miller, of a Justin Medlock. Like, you remember when Medlock was here and people were like, he's making how much money? He's making $180,000. Why do we got to pay him that? We could be paying that to, this and that. Hey, there's a reason why these special teams aces make six figures, because they're worth it.
Yes,
there's a reason why Justin Medlock made over $170,000 a year, because he's worth it. And, no, I'm not trying to dig on Mark Leggio because he's had a hard enough night, but, there's a reason why Justin Medlock was as good as he was. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yes. And if we had Justin Medlock, we win this game, I'm sure. But what? Bomber fan, someone
clarified.
I say
Jason Medlock?
I don't think so. I didn't hear that. But someone clarified that what Prefontaine was doing is he was intentionally missing a field goal at the end of a game, like on a walk-off, but he hit it in a way that was like a longer punt or something. So maybe that's something. And apparently someone said here, a Kent Austin coach team, or Kent Austin tried to, when he was coaching the Riders, tried to punt for a win. So apparently it's happened. I mean, I've just never seen it.
No, me neither. But that's kind of
It's
the beauty,
fascinating.
niche little moments that happen in Canadian football. Josh
Yeah.
Wolf mentioning to Tony Burnett, Tristan Opala Ugo. Sorry, I butchered the spelling. You actually didn't. You
No, he
only
got it.
flip the U and the A after the L, and you got it, I believe. But like really, really well done. And was there in 2015, 2016, and Jamal Westerman. Those were some good defensive ends.
Westerman took too many roughing penalties, though.
Oh man, that was the thing on him, wasn't it? Yeah, but heck of a player.
Yeah. Oh, Bomber fans saying Ken Miller was the coach who tried to punt for the win. And did he win with the punt? That's what I'd wonder. Tell us if he won with the punt, because that would be interesting. But
Yeah.
just let's get off the kicker at this. But let me just say, like, I've never seen a walk-off field goal duffed that badly in my entire life. And for it to happen tonight when there was such a big crowd and you're going for 10-0, and you're also, don't forget, Darren, we were going for the first CFL team to get 400 wins at home. I'm just trying to flush all the bad juju here.
Well, will Calgary do it on Saturday against BC?
Oh, they probably will. And Ryan Ballantyne was talking about that on the Tune Out
Who?
podcast.
Who?
Ryan Ballantyne. He's like,
You
they're
say
going to
it with so
lose
much
and we're going to
disdain.
get it. Boo.
You say it with disdain.
Well, because he was jinxing us.
He's a
He
fan.
said we're gonna get. He's a good guy. He's like me, right? Anyway, I mean, but it's just tough. I mean,
Good comment from Rob here. Kickers should be money from under 40. Yeah, I mean, for the most part,
Yeah.
I think they should be 90 plus, 95 plus from inside 40. If the Rouge is even being discussed, says Rob, probably time for a more reliable kicker. I'm sure that is echoing a lot of sentiments in Bomber Nation tonight. This is interesting. The PI call on Winston Rose earlier in the game that gave the Owls their first touchdown. That was, hang on, I'm going to find it here.
Yeah, that was early on.
PI,
that's right.
I thought I had it.
Well, it was in the first quarter.
That was a 27-yard penalty.
Yeah.
It was a 7-play, 59-yard touchdown drive by the Montreal Alouettes right at the beginning of the second quarter. Made it 7-0.
Yeah.
And kind of in the midst of the Winnipeg offense going 2-and-out 3 out of 4 possessions. But that was a 27-yard penalty. I called it fluffy on Twitter.
Yes.
Which is kind of my way of saying ticky tack, maybe not very firm, a firm penalty, pretty fluffy to me. And then you look at what was not a PI later in the game, the one that really helped catapult Montreal to a win tonight.
You won you mean the one on Schoen in overtime?
The one that Mike O'Shea challenged.
Yeah.
Similar. I know like the TV angle was different. It's very hard to see from the stadium and from the press box, but the TV angle was opposite as far as what you could see. But similar, like late contact, nothing disrupting the receiver, their hands, their arms, their torso, that sort of thing. No jersey pull. For the most part, at least until there's contact, like ball to the receiver's hands. So, some people are just going to blame refs every game. There's those types of people out there. Well, hey, you are who you are. I'm never going to say the refs decided a football game. I'm not.
When I'm really angry about something, I'll yell at the refs. Then later on, I might cool down.
Well, you're a fan in the stands.
Yeah, but I think later on you got to cool down. I think actually people who know a lot about reffing say Andre Proulx is actually a pretty good ref. He's actually one of the better ones. It's just his delivery and I think his accent. I think sometimes he fumbles his words and like takes a really long time to get things out.
The tree,
So
the 20 tree.
so I think he gets a bad rep for that.
For sure.
There's a couple fans who are also saying that it was PI on Rose earlier in the game. So I think we have an educated chat group and fans, and
Yeah, it's great. Bring it. If you saw something and disagree with me or Zach, bring it. Let us know. This is
there's a
open,
bunch of people saying Rose
open
impeded
discussion.
him. And we know that Rose sometimes gets burnt. Anyway, let's should we do our Walby's Warrior?
Yeah, let's get into
Happy
it.
Honker.
Let's get into it. So we still don't have a name. Maybe we don't even need one, but we'll give our player of the game, our game ball to somebody, right? Is that what we're gonna do?
Yeah. Okay. We can have more than one game ball.
Let's start with okay, look, the Blue Bombers lost tonight. 2017 in overtime, their first loss of the season, their best start since 1960, where they started 10-0. They do not become the seventh team in CFL history to begin 10-0. They do not become the first team to win 400 games at home in the CFL. Calgary has a chance to do that against BC this weekend. However, it's not a TSN turning point. Our bonfire burning point, the moment that turned the tides in this game that led to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers suffering their first loss of the season.
I think it's the. I mean, you could easily say it was the duffed kick at the end, but I think it's the strip sack. I think the wave is going. You have the Bombers in the fourth quarter marching. They're up 7, and that just took the air out of the building. The Alouettes go and score the tying touchdown with the offside. And then from there, after the wave, as many people have commented here, we didn't score another point. And it was rough, man. That was a terrible burning point. And turnovers are they're highly correlated with wins and losses, right? And we gave one away and they didn't. So that strip sack, I think, was a burning point for me.
Lots of people chiming in here. Love how everyone in the live chat is giving us their bonfire burning point. Tony Burnett, former Blue Bombers special teams.
That's super cool that he's on here, man.
Yeah, totally. Well, he texted me. He's like, "That's
come back, Tony."
Yeah, no, of course. He texted me. I'm like, "Hey, hit up our post game show here on Bonfire." He mentions the strip sack by Avery Ellis, for sure. My bonfire burning point was a goal line stand snuffed out by a toe lining up.
Yeah, that's fair too.
Because it wouldn't have been a tie game. Winnipeg would have had the lead, 17-10.
We'll call this game the toe nail biter.
Oh, flexible. Okay, let's do our Walby's Warrior. Before we do our Westwood wide to the right, Walby's Warrior, the guy that went to war tonight, could be an Alouette, could be a Bomber. Maybe let's not make it the refs.
No, let's stop talking about the refs. I mean, I thought Brady Oliveira had a hell of a game. He came through when he needed to. He did enough to win the game for the Bombers, right? Much maligned at the beginning of the season, and I loved him. Well-deserved, tough. Was it a 19-yard touchdown to make it 17-10? Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that run, and he deserved a touchdown, and I thought he battled hard all night. And, part of that is his character. On the post game, I thought, he spoke well. He said, we've really got to look at ourselves. And he was asked, what are you going to take away from this for the bye week, Darren? And he said, I think like all of us, I've got to look in the mirror and say, what do I have to do better? And this is a guy who had a pretty darn good game. And so I liked me some Brady Oliveira, and I appreciate him and his character. And I want to see success for him. So he was my warrior tonight.
Good call. Good call there. when he jumped into the stands after that touchdown with the way the last month, the first month of the season went for him, and he talked openly. So huge ups to Brady Oliveira for his honesty and saying like, "Hey, I'm a Winnipeg kid, and it's been hard hearing my hometown fans, not have faith in me." He's like, "I had faith in me. My teammates, my coaches had faith in me. I knew it was going to turn around." Well, it's now 4 games in a row where Brady Oliveira has been very good. So that touchdown at home with 31,000 cheering on, I'm sure felt really, really good. I'm going to jump on with C. Walker, who's watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Walker? Mike Miller, no practice. Well, he often does not practice. It wasn't just this week. Absolutely blew up Jalen Philpott on the return. I'm going to give it to Mike Miller and Jesse Briggs for being free and nearly blocking a punt. I think Winnipeg special teams did very, very well tonight. Those are my Walby Warriors.
Nice. Okay.
Okay, let's do our Westwood wide to the right. The moment
Wow.
in this game we did not like.
I mean, it's literally I think it was
Leggio
wide
to the left and Westwood to the right.
left, to the left. Yeah, I'm not going to listen to that song because now it's going to give me nightmares.
Oh gosh, no, Beyonce's got a better her new song's pretty good.
Okay, so I mean, I think that was horrible. I think that goes without saying. Like, you just can't shank a walk-off field goal like that, especially when you can just get a single. But you know what? We focus so much on that, Darren. I think that the O-line play, not only allowing that much pressure on Zach and making Zach run around like Houdini all game, right? And he's going to get hurt like that. So that I didn't like. And the O-line was also taking penalties, procedure penalties. There's a couple holding penalties.
Yep.
You don't normally, especially the procedure, you don't normally see that. And to me, that tells me, okay, maybe they're tired, but I just think this game was lost in the trenches as much as Leggio was sort of the icing on the cake for this one, the cherry on top. That was a little rotten at the end, a little rancid, maybe in the fridge too long, but the trenches killed us. And that was my wide to the right, our O-line play.
So the O-line play, that's good. Leggio's an obvious one. I almost don't want to pick that because it's so obvious.
Low-hanging fruit.
Some other ones similar to my burning point. Well, precisely similar to my burning point in the penalty to rookie Donald Rutledge Jr. I'm going to give my Westwood wide to the right. Oh, I'm almost having second thoughts because it was game 10 in a row. But Winnipeg had every opportunity to use the energy of Military Appreciation Night, a rockin' national anthem sung by a local, 31,000 plus on a beautiful night here in Southern Manitoba, and they just came out flat. I understand maybe why it happened, but I'm going to give that my wide to the right because it could have determined the game quite differently. I think Winnipeg, it wasn't just fatigue or low energy from being 10 games in a row. I think it was also just maybe lack of mental sharpness. O'Shea talked about that after the game. They made a lot of mistakes early in the game as well.
They did. And, I hate to say it. I mean, maybe they were just so freaking exhausted. Maybe they're at home and they're like, hey, the crowd's going to give us a boost. I don't know, man. But you're absolutely right. There was so much to celebrate, and just capping it off with a win would have just been a beaut. And Josh Wolf said he was hoping the defense would get a turnover. I did have a moment in the game, I think in the third quarter, thinking like, I think the defense is going to have to get us a turnover to win this game. And they weren't able to, but it's just a tough night and tough to not use all that momentum and energy. Hey, Darren, from a raucous crowd. And, it's not usual that you get over 30,000 in a regular season game other than the Banjo Bowl in the IG field.
Like when they did the starting lineups and started the offense, they went from Chris Kolankowski all the way through to Zach Collaros. The sparks are flying, the smoke machines are going, the crowd is frothing and getting all fired up for kickoff. And then they announce Zach Collaros' name, and the
Yeah.
place, like, you could feel it. It was absolutely lit at IG Field tonight, and that was before they even kicked the ball off.
Yeah.
I was very surprised they came out as flat as they did. As much as I'm not surprised, because man, 10 games in a row is a really, really tough go. Mike O'Shea will never admit it. I've tried to get him to address it.
Nice.
He's like,
good luck with that, buddy.
well, that's the way he coaches. He coaches the same way he deals with the media. It's like, it's out of our control. The schedule is the schedule. It is
Yeah.
what it is. If a player's hurt, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do to change that. You can change the way you think about it. You can change the way you play. You can change the way you prepare and the way you work. But you can't do anything about, hey, we got to buy this week. Like, the Bombers can't play a game next week if they want to. They can't. There's a buy. That's just the way it is. The same way they have to host Calgary on August 25th. And I'm really looking forward to that game. How's Winnipeg going to come out rested and rejuvenated with a bit of a bitter taste in their mouth of losing their last home game? What was it? I wrote it down here. First loss for Winnipeg in 264 days. And then there's another one here.
No, it's got to be more than that. Wasn't it September 2019 the last time they lost at home?
What was 200? Yeah, maybe you're right.
Maybe that's the last.
You should see my notes here. You'd think I'm a doctor with all this.
Maybe that was the last loss. Maybe that was the last loss, was 260 when they lost to Toronto.
That's right. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. This one from my good friend, Skylar Peters, who is a phenomenal reporter for Global News. Tonight marks Zach Collaros' second loss in a meaningful game since being traded to the Blue Bombers. That was 1,037 days ago. The 2019 trade deadline was 1,037 days ago. And Zach Collaros just had his second meaningful loss since that. And I will remind people that first loss, meaningful game, was 264 days ago in Toronto.
So if he loses every 264
no.
days, I'll be
wrong.
okay.
I am wrong.
What are you wrong?
Okay. Well, that last loss was in Calgary. 13-12.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but what did he play? What quarter? Come on.
No, I'm saying, right. Yes.
Oh, but that's the 264 days. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Have we confused everybody enough here?
Yeah.
So what do we have left? We got the happy honker to get.
Happy honker, and then a game ball or two. Who's your happy honker?
You want me to go first? Ooh,
yeah.
Well, you know what? There was one very happy honker in the crowd tonight. Zach, I know you've been having, your go at life over the last little while here, but you have been truly fortunate because you are such a genuine person that cares about other people. So, luck is on your side. So you're the season ticket member of the game. You've been winning tons of prizes. You've been crushing it here on Bonfire Sports. Zach Schnitzer, you're my happy honker.
Oh, nice. And I think I got one before too from Mike Stills. So, and I was a fan of the game.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I gotta call Carol tomorrow. I think Carol Barrett has a hand in these things. I don't know.
Come on.
And Darren Cameron tweeted out earlier that Carol was running around with her head cut off. So maybe she was trying to arrange things for me. I don't know. Ever since she told me that I'd be the coin tosser on my dad's birthday, the first birthday after he passed, I was like, come on, something's going on, Carol. But I love me some Carol Barrett. Thank you, Darren. I will accept that nice compliment. It's been a tough 2 months with mental health stuff, but the Bombers and being here with you and you guys on the chat, it's really been a lifesaver, and certainly things are getting better. So that's good. They're getting better. I'm getting the help I need. My happy honker would be actually Nick Taylor. I thought he made a couple of really nice plays in the, I think it was the Dennis, sorry, I didn't have my chart because I was tailgating, and I didn't think I could manage that chart, but there was a couple of plays. I have him The first quarter, he had a really nice pass breakup on Reggie White, who was wide open, and Nick Taylor closed on him. So I thought that was a great play. And then there was another one. He had a great tackle on Eugene Lewis. So I thought he was bringing it. I thought Nick Taylor brought it, especially in the first half. So he gets my happy honker, because we often don't talk about Nick Taylor, but he's an elite defensive back, and he's fast as heck. And, maybe he's not the Tarpaulin Dietrich Nichols, who we don't even talk about because nobody throws to him. But I liked,
Tarpaulin.
Yeah, I liked what and you said Tarpaulin in your interview with him, didn't you?
Did I?
I think you did.
I don't
Yes.
even know.
I was like, he's not going to say Tarpaulin, but I think after the interview you said Tarpaulin or something. So,
okay. I'm not sure.
I liked what I saw from Nick Taylor, but yeah, I don't know if it's him or, I could give it to Biggie for just being a heat-seeking missile, but Biggie might get one of my game balls. I don't know.
Yep.
I think Biggie was just a guy that brought it tonight, and I think he was one of the players of the game. I don't have his final stats, Darren. You might, but even though we were offside, he really did, like, had Rutledge not been offside, Darren, that is the play of the game.
Yep.
Like stuffing, like jumping over top of that pile and stuffing
Agreed.
a big dude who's very successful on 3rd and short and 2nd and short, like a Dominic Davis. That is the play of the game. And there was another time where he just crushed Antwi, which was a beautiful tackle. And then he had a pass knocked down deep in coverage. So I just thought, for an older guy who's built like that, and nothing against his build, it's just like, that's not a guy you think is going to run down and knock down a pass deep in coverage. So I just thought, I love Biggie. I love his leadership, and he did enough to win today too. And I'll say one more thing, and I think this was Cal Murphy who said, I think it was Cal Murphy who said that for every rookie you have on the team is one loss. And correct me if that's wrong, but I think you see that in Rutledge, right? Like, that's a rookie mistake. It's so tiny, like it's millimeters even, or centimeters, but damn, like things like that's the kind of thing the Bombers don't usually mess up. I think that's the first offside on defense I've seen from them in goal to go situation. So, those are the little things the Bombers usually get right, and that's why they usually win. Is it Dave? Okay, thanks. It's the Dave Ritchie quote. So, yeah, it's tough, but I think Biggie definitely gets one of my game balls. What about you?
I do want to mention comment with a good comment here. Bombers were punch drunk tonight after a 10-week run. It's okay to learn from a defeat and recover.
Totally. Don't let one defeat be a final defeat, right? That's my favorite quote. So, hey, it's how you recover from it. And I've definitely had defeats in the last 2 months with my mental health. The days that were horrible, right? I had horrible days. Brain is telling me shit that I'd never want to put on anyone else. And it's, what are you going to do the next day, right? Who are you going to reach out to? What strategy are you going to try? Who are you going to hang on to for dear life? And, I mean, listen, I'm not super concerned about the Bombers, but it's a tough one.
Speaks to your fantastic article on 3 Down Nation. You can find that in the video description of our last post-game show. Not tonight, but from a week ago. Go read it if you haven't yet.
Thanks, DB.
So, no, thank you. That was awesome. Okay, so a game ball tonight. Like, this is tough. Like, I don't. You could say Oliveira. You could say Zach Collaros, even because the pressure was on him just kind of all night long. Some of those guys on special teams, some guys on defense. Like you mentioned Adam Bighill. I don't know. Nobody really jumped off the page for me on the Blue Bombers. Bighill was very good. and made impact plays and the leadership and all those things you just talked about. I'm going to have to give my game ball to 31,000 plus people that were at IG Field tonight. Call me corny. I don't care. I just
You're
don't
corny.
see, I just don't see anybody on this Blue Bombers team that I want to give a game ball to.
Fair enough.
The way it is. So 31,053 people on Military Appreciation Night, game ball to the military, who were honored tonight. Appreciate all you do and the sacrifices you make. And to all the Blue Bomber fans out there that said, hey, let's go out to the park on a beautiful Thursday night in the summer and take in the best team in the Canadian Football League. Yeah, they lost, but they're still the best team in the CFL.
They are.
Debate me. Change my mind.
They
Not
are.
you, but...
I mean, but here's the thing, the skeptical fan is like, if someone's found the book on beating our O-line, then I do get concerned. There's my son waking up. I have to do an intervention. Well, perfect time. Well, let's see if he goes back down. Sometimes he just whines and then he's like, nobody's coming. I might as well go back to sleep because mom's not coming.
He's dreaming about missed kicks.
But here's the thing. I want to see what the Bombers are going to come like. The name of my article was coming back stronger. I expect them to come back stronger. In fact, maybe at the end of the year we'll look back at this when we're punch drunk with our three-peat, Darren. You're going to be at the Grey Cup. I'm not sure, but maybe we'll look back at this like we did in 2019 and say, hey, good thing we had a loss. Maybe you learn more from a loss. Maybe they have a chip on their shoulder, Darren.
Yeah.
Where they kick the living crap out of Calgary, right? Like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just I wish it would have happened on the road and not when we had 400 home wins and a raucous crowd. And when you get 31,000 people in a regular season game, it means you're getting people that don't normally go to games. And God forbid they're like, oh, we lost. That sucked. Like the refs ruined the game. Like people who don't watch a lot of football. So I hope that people come back to the game and we continue to get crowds like that, because that was absolutely fantastic. Sign guys, shout out to you. You got on the big screen a couple times as usual.
Yeah, Don, he was definitely on there. We got to get him some Bonfire gear to get some free promo out of that. Jonathan Coates was watching live on YouTube. For those who are listening to the podcast and can't see this comment, a lot of our fans have been spoiled not knowing how good we actually are, says Jonathan Coates. I think that's extremely, extremely on the nose and true. People often take it for granted. A lot of people in the live chat tonight joking, like, Adam Bighill should captain the Winnipeg Jets. Then we'd have good leadership, with the hockey team.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a lot of people who go to a game and they lose and they're like, yeah, they're 9-1, but they went and I lost, so I'm not going to go anymore.
Yeah.
You got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
The reality is it's 9-to-1 ratio of good to bad. They got a lot of games at home this year. To have the atmosphere you do, it's not 12,000 or 8,000 or 10,000 fans at BMO in Toronto. It's not, 14,000 fans at Percival Molson in Montreal. It's not, Edmonton in 2021, where the crowds really started to diminish because of their putrid home record. You have a beautiful stadium, a kick-ass football team to cheer for and to watch, and 30,000 people going to games. That's awesome. To me, that's worth the traffic. That's worth it's worth the trouble to me, because I was sitting in the press box tonight and look, I get that opportunity to go to games and work and sit in the press box, Zach. and not have to buy a ticket because I'm there in a working capacity. But I really had a moment where I sat there and I looked around, and I'm listening to the music and people dancing and cheering, and like the Bombers weren't doing particularly well. It was the first half, and I just thought, man, gratitude is something we should
Mhm.
always have more of.
Mhm.
How fortunate are we? If you're fortunate enough to be able to afford and go to games, or watch on TSN or listen on the radio, or tune in with us, like how fortunate are we to have this Blue Bombers team right now? This is a historic team. They've won back-to-back championships. They're favored to do it a third time in a 4-year span. They've got star players at every position. We have a beautiful stadium. I'm not a huge fan of these new jerseys they wore tonight, but I love the helmets. I love that
Me too,
updated
buddy.
helmet
I
stripe.
love those helmets.
I think that should be their regular helmet.
Yeah,
But
100%.
they have awesome regular uniforms and a great logo and a great organization, and they make money. It's a successful franchise. People need to realize how fortunate we are, compared to many other CFL teams, to many other markets, frankly, to many other North American cities that don't have this awesome thing that we have right here in the summer and in the fall every year in Winnipeg.
Well said, Darren. And gratitude is never a bad thing, right? And I do think there's a lot to be grateful for, especially if you were sitting with your family and friends and you had a good time, right? And we win most of the games. It's a great franchise. I don't know about these third jerseys though. I see them on the rack, and I'm like, that looks like a hockey sweater. I see them on the players, and part of me is like, okay, they look kind of cool on the players, and then I'm thinking they kind of look like giant blueberries. I like blueberries, but I don't
The
know. I
blue
don't
on
know.
blue, like the color rush with the blue pants, blue jerseys, it's a little heavy. It's a little
I don't
heavy for me.
know. I don't know. I'm not sure if I could stand behind them, but now I'm scarred. I'm traumatized by them now because of tonight. But I'll get over it. And waiters, you know what? You and me, buddy. I'll get over it in about 12 hours. By the way, waiters, was that you who said your cousin is one of the Legion of Blue? Is your cousin Bucky? The shoulder pads? This guy's a legend. El Tony
They were on the
Tones and
jumbotron
Legion of
tonight
Blue.
during
Yeah,
the
yeah,
dance
yeah.
off.
Bucky had a good turn on the jumbotron. So at
Love,
the end
love
of the
this
day,
from
yes,
Christopher Met. Anyone who
yeah,
stuck it out for every game in the new stadium from the start through 2015 and 2016, those really, really tough lean years
yeah,
in 13, 14, 15, this is for you. No question about that. Oh,
that's
how about
true,
this?
right?
Jonathan Coates. The wave tonight was awesome too. So some people like the wave.
Well, and maybe for some fans, it's like, hey, the ending sucked, but I liked the wave. Or maybe for some people that wouldn't normally go to a game, they were like, "Ooh, that was fun," right? I don't know.
I agree with
Uh,
Transcona Poly here. Going undefeated was becoming a distraction. I don't know if it actually was becoming a distraction inside the Blue Bombers locker
yeah,
room.
I don't think so.
However,
Maybe for us,
Zach, yeah, like way too much chatter about like it's historic and they're gonna go this and that undefeated season, and we're like, how long can this last? And now we can just turn the page on that and just talk about football. Like it got a little bit heavy for me. You and I talked about it on Bonfire midweek, right? Like, um, when do you start talking about an undefeated season? 10-0 is what I said. You need to get into double digit. It's an 18 game season. It's not a 12 game season or a 14 game season. It's 18 games. You better win more than half first
sure,
before
but
people start talking about
but
undefeated season.
Darren, I wanted them to break the record. I wanted them to get to 13-0 and win on the
Sure,
Banjo Bowl. Come
that would be cool.
on.
That
I
would be
uh
cool. I'm not Hey, I get that.
I'm sad. I'm sad
But
about that.
I said
But
this to Chris Walby on the pregame here on Bonfire GameDay Winnipeg. I said, Chris, any player would trade a three game losing streak
oh yeah.
for a championship, no question.
Well, I'll
No
give you
question.
one bad loss. I have a weird encyclopedia for these things, but people will remember those 1-6 2011 BC Lions who we beat twice in the regular season. They went on a tear at the end of the season and they ended up winning the Grey Cup, right? With considerable ease. They had a game when the regular season still mattered, where they lost like 43 to 5 to the Hamilton Tiger Cats at home.
Yep.
Like sometimes you just have a bad night at the park, and hey, maybe one thing to take away is the Bombers had a bad night at the park and they lost by a toenail, right? Like and maybe down the road this is a game that fuels them. Maybe Leggio gets the yips out, and he
It was
comes
what?
back stronger,
Yeah,
right?
I
Maybe
mean,
he comes back stronger. Maybe he doesn't. I
here's
don't,
the thing.
you know?
If he had shanked the second of the two kicks, I don't know if if he didn't shank the first one, I think he would have made the second one. I think it got into his head. Like,
Well, if
because
he wouldn't have shanked the
he
first one,
yeah,
he wouldn't have had to make the second one.
I understand that.
But I know
But
what you mean.
even if he hit it clean, but he didn't hit it clean.
Yeah.
He really misstruck the ball. It was
Yeah.
that wasn't a missed field goal. That was a missed
No.
kick. You know
Yeah,
what I
it
mean?
was bad. We have to call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
It was bad, and it was a bad way to cap off a night like that. And that just is what it is. Um,
Well, is what it is what Jeff Kabilas says here. Encyclopedia Britannia-Schnitzer.
well, I do, my wife wishes I remembered simple directions she gives me every day, but I do remember errata from the history of the CFL. Some anyway, not as much as other people. There's always someone
This is
better.
crazy from Scott Roger. Wide to the right was the stadium staff. First call for more cowbell while the offense was on the field. The stadium staff? Boy.
What does that mean? What?
Like, I guess, Scott, maybe you can clarify in the
Oh, the
live chat.
staff were saying he's going to miss it wide to the right.
No. Saying his Westwood wide to the right was the stadium staff calling for more cowbell while the offense was on the field.
Were they doing that while the offense? Because they kept having that. What's the actor's name? They kept having what's his name?
Oh, more cowbell.
Christopher Walken.
Yes.
And then more cowbell. Was that they kept doing it? I didn't know the offense was on the field though. That is bad.
Yeah.
So this is good too. I wanted to mention this actually. Thanks, waiters and Darren for putting this up. We can't forget that Cote hit the post from like 19 yards out.
It's crazy. Like I said
Don't
to
forget
Joey
about that,
Alfieri,
Bomber fans.
I said to Joey Alfieri in the press box, he's now working with the Montreal Alouettes.
Yeah.
My former TSN radio colleague. I said at halftime, I'm like, it's a 7-7 game. I'm like, that missed field goal is going to bite them. And he's like, yeah, it might. It might. Like neither of us expected it to be a 7-7 game at halftime. But it could have been a completely different game had he not doinked that. Doink. It's a technical term. Every time there's a doink in the CFL, even the NFL, I tweet doink. It's a technical term. I will always tweet doink. It is a technical term.
And here's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, him and Leggio go toe to toe for bad kicks in terms of doinking, right? Cote's was even worse. It was from I believe, Darren, maybe correct me, fans on the chat. I mean, I think it was from like 20 or 19 yards. You don't doink those. Like, you have to hit those. Leggio doinked his at the end from what, 30, 35 or something in overtime. They cancel each other out maybe, but it's again the duffed kick that would have been the walk-off winner. But
37 yards.
37. Yeah, anyway, I'll get over it eventually.
Doink was a wrestler, waiters. You're right.
Doink the clown?
And then,
Doink
of course, Mark has it. Doink and Dink were the two. That was the tag team in the WWE, I think.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Fajardo did.
Fajardo hit the bar.
It's a technical term.
If I was young and single, I'd be hitting the bar now to try and dance my troubles away. But
yeah, well, maybe you know what? Like on that note, how about we dance our way to wrapping this show up? You have final thoughts, Zach, following the Blue Bombers' first loss of the season?
Well, I like what you said in terms of gratitude. I mean, there is so much to be grateful for, and I'm always, as a mental health person, I'm like, it's hard to feel grateful when you've got strong negative feelings. You got to feel your feelings too, and then feel grateful. So I don't know if I'm quite ready to feel grateful as a fan. I know, Darren, you're not the fan, so it's probably easier to feel grateful. I would say, if you're really, pissed off and upset about that, that's okay. Feel your feelings, let your feelings sit, they'll pass, but you got to feel them first. You can't get over anything without getting through it. So, it's always good practice to feel your feelings. It's there were some good moments, particularly the things outside of the game. It was fun to be the season ticket member of the game. That was cool, and to be in the Bombers store earlier, buy a couple nice jerseys with my prize money for some special ladies. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, for me, Darren, it still stinks that we lost that way when it's so close, like on the point of the end of a sharp pin, and it could go either way. That's the thrilling thing about sports. But when it doesn't go your way, it's a real gut punch. But hey, we got to talk about it today on post game with these great fans who have tuned in: Vicky, Chris Vermette, Jonathan Coates, Waiters, Matt Carr, Tao Zen. I think he's from across the pond. A bunch of great Bomber fans and Bomber fan. So listen, it's a fun night, and we get to on Tuesday talk about some other things, and I think I'll be good to go then. So appreciate everybody on the chat. Sucks to lose this way, and I really do stink. Like I made that bad BO comment about Brady Oliveira. It was hot there, and I was out there for a while.
The tailgating, the way you get it going.
Yeah.
So,
what about you, Darren?
No, I'm great. I'm fresh. But my math is off tonight, so 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Whatever.
Waiters asked if I had caught up on the Bonfire Hotline. I have. I mentioned a couple. The rest, they're all just kind of a couple 4-letter words. Talking about a particular player on the Blue Bombers special team. So yeah, I caught up on the hotline, but hey, continue to hit it. 816-TIPS, 204-816-8477. Call, text anytime. Leave a voicemail. We love hearing them. Zach and I listen to them all. Leave a comment down below. We respond to all of those. If you haven't, subscribe. If you're listening to the podcast or on Facebook or Twitter, youtube.com/Bonfire Sports. Very simple. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a subscribe. Ring the bell. You'll get alerted. But that helps us so much here, as we continue to put this stuff together for you here on the Blue Bombers. I wanted to... Oh, where is that comment? I had one final thought tonight. Well, I can't find it. Well,
is it Baby Yoda? Because that's a pretty good name, and they have a picture of Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda, so yeah,
that's pretty good. And Tao Zen, that's from he's from Thailand, so that's awesome, man. That brings a smile to my face. I'm gonna go to bed happy now. Look at this cool stuff on here, right?
This was the one. I think Blue Bomber fans need to remember this. Yeah, the streak is over. They're 9-1, but as Jonathan Coates says, turn the page, Bomber fans. We have a three-peat to look forward to. Everybody inside that Blue Bombers locker room, they're going to kick back. They're going to relax. They're going to do their best to, refresh and rejuvenate during this bye week. They're going to, wake up tomorrow morning and not think twice about a loss to the Montreal Alouettes in overtime. They didn't play well enough to win. They know that. And in the end, their goal wasn't to win 18 games in the regular season. Their goal is to win in Regina in late November, and they are still extremely well positioned to do that. So on that note, wish everybody a great night. Zach, I hope you have a great one, man. It seems like your little guy is sleeping soundly.
Yeah, there was a squeak, and he's back down. He knows that he's not getting anything by waking up.
Doink.
He's dreaming of doinks.
Of nightmares.
By the way, Donnie C sign guy, he made a comment. I got to finish on this that Dominic Davis went into the stands because of something Donnie C said, and I wouldn't be surprised if you got into his head, Don. So you got to DM me about that. I want to hear what you said to him. And again, great to meet Neil and a bunch of people at the tailgate and at the game, and David Asplund. That you guys are why being a Bomber fan is the best, win or lose. To be honest, that brings a smile to my face. It's a big family. We're all here for each other. And DB, you too, man. Even though you're not technically a fan, I still got some love for you.
Well, I'm a fan of you, Zach. I'm a fan of you.
I'm a fan of you, and you know,
No, like here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm a fan of the fans. I do this
fans are
for
awesome.
all of you out there. I really, really do. I'm the luckiest guy on the block. Like, hands down, I get to cover sports for a living. It's awesome. It's never, like, there were times where it was looking bleak, but I've been able to keep doing it, and I do it for the fans. I love to do it. It's fun. It's rewarding, and it gets me out of bed every morning, and I'm motivated to do my job, which is really everything, I think. But in the
That's
end,
pretty cool.
I try to serve the best interests of the fans. That's why I love the interaction here on Bonfire, and to be able to talk to people, and they text the hotline and live chat and shoot barbs at me and have fun with us. That's what it's all about. So I hope everybody enjoyed themselves tonight and enjoyed the show. It's been a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, and if I have a pain in the butt tomorrow, I'll just know that it's horseshoes. Or if I am a pain in the butt, it's just horseshoes, and I'll take it. I got some flooring to do, baby.
You sure do. You sure do. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us. Bombers lose for the first time this season, 2017 in overtime. Be sure to join us Tuesday night at 7:30 for Bonfire midweek, and then we're going to do it all over again, regular style, when the Bombers return on Thursday, August 25th. Bonfire midweek Tuesdays, GameDay Winnipeg the day before the game, and then post-game here on Game Day After Dark. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, comment. We really appreciate all of that, guys. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, everyone. Good night. And Jeff Kabilis, we'll meet someday, and the universe will explode. So DM me, buddy. Let's meet at the next game. Good night,
Cheers,
everybody.
everybody.